De kommer! Hjælp os! De kommer! Hjælp os! De kommer! Hjælp os!
It's red, it's tight, all huddled, all cuddled, and you cannot see anything. The place where all bombers are trained, and the map that punishes you for having teammates. You know the name. It sends you coping again. Welcome to Now, what I said above is why people rarely vote for Copenhagen. Cause you see, mailing bombers in Copenhagen is not a mistake, it's a tradition. And you are all invited. Hence why it is so controversial. However, if you think about it, with a competent team, Copenhagen is fine. In fact, playing Copenhagen is super fun since it has the perfect balance of move and hold. Unless you are in the front line. So let me talk about my opinion in this map. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Copenhagen takes place in the capital of Denmark, also known as Copenhagen. However, it went through quarantine because of Britain. Why, you ask? Some years ago, folks from Vardo made contact with the Blight, and stuff happened. Sometime later, different people came back to investigate what happened. Vardo host is quiet. The people in charge of the investigation decided to take the corpses since they have no sign of reanimating, except this random frozen corpse over here. But they are pretty sure the rest of the corpses are safe. Totally. They took the damned so they could be buried at a Sistan cemetery. Also, they decided to do some research on the Blight, or the Danes refer to it as Psygdom.
Sygdom.
Where is the G? From that research, two different theories arose from two contrasting people, Dr. Johan Berling and Mr. Carl Dial. You guys bought a corpse from Vardo to Copenhagen? Let's be sensible here. The Psygdom is not caused by bad air like most people believes. You are wrong and we are all doomed. This will be the end of Copenhagen. Everyone that bought this corpse here are all morons. Carl Dial's commentary is somewhat controversial. Some even took action against the ships, which didn't really stop them. But he was almost right. Sorta. To combat this unfortunate predicament, the Danes decided to repel the horde and even recruit more men to fight back. What a honorable approach. Meanwhile, Britain, fearing the Blight would spread and some foreign influences, responded in their typical fashion by going to Copenhagen and blowing a bunch of stuff up. Because that is surely the best strategy in this sort of situation. Anyway, the date strikes 7, the dead are marching, the Danes are fighting, and the brigs are slooping. Surely nothing bad will happen at this exact same day. Dude, we are so doomed right now. Let's skedaddle. And that begins the escape from Copenhagen. Now, Copenhagen's beginning is really simple. But just like the survival rate of the hatch baby turtles, the beginning of Copenhagen is really threatening, especially due to the fact that they would not be able to break this door. To be fair, it is really sturdy. Now, the common theme of Copenhagen is that it is really close quarters. This makes the bombers actually more threatening, especially in this location. This gives a good back and forth for the players, forcing them to pay attention to their surroundings. Nah, I'm just kidding, they don't do that. This is why sappers are important in this map, since they can build barricades, place skull traps, or use the shove. However, stakes sucks in lots of parts of this map. I will discuss this later. So, PSA, don't use stakes here. Anyway, what comes after that is another walk. Nothing really interesting happened here, unless of course your teammates hit a bomber. Yes, this is a common occurrence of Copenhagen due to the red walls, tight walls, and people not being able to see what is in front of them. Hence why, in situation like this, if you are a sapper, try using the Siege Engineer armor for its resistance. Now, it does build less faster and you walk slower. However, if you are prone to your teammates' tomfoolery, I beg to reconsider. You can even tank unsuspecting zappers, so try using it, for an alive zapper is better than none. Enough of that, let's talk about this section. The flank test and the suspiciously placed hole in the middle is really interesting. The objective is to push the barrel to get the flanks to cross, which is all conveniently here for some reason. Somehow. Meanwhile, the environment is limiting the passage of the players while getting them close to the looming threat of the bomber, making this part really fun despite being close to the very beginning. Unless you use stakes. Why? You'll hurt your teammates if you use the stakes since they do not get telegraphed from the bomber's presence. Just use the barricade. It can even blow up the rest of their cadavers. Now if you look at the window, you can see one of the ships that is quarantining Copenhagen. You can also shoot through it if you can aim, which might be unintentional. We are up to a great start with this map. Anyways, what comes after that is another walk which has a minor change. There is elevation and a span. Most importantly, a missable detail in this area. A melancholic sound coming behind the door. Who is the man behind the door? A soldier? A citizen? Someone bound to be infected, hence barricaded? Or someone needed to be protected from the horde? Nobody knows, but what we all know is that the person behind that door is human. Anyhow, chaplains. Tighter rooms means you'll easily get grabbed, so you'll likely get infected, which could potentially make you bomber prone. The crucifix is also useful in this damage-prone map, especially when saving players, pushing back zombies to progress, and to have a little breather to reorganize. Just don't push them back that your teammates cannot hit them. Try to reposition or unequip your crucifix. But now my favorite part of the map. This map peaked here. There are 3 zombies spawn. The area is both a moving and static objective. And the best of all, both of these are close to each other. Those two things combined causes the team to get flanked easily. This teaches the team to juggle the objective while traversing from point A to point B, and have the rest of the team to defend the spot. This separates the team's role, making this bucket area quite dynamic, instead of the typical standstill and hold like most maps. Personally, this is the best part of Copenhagen. Honestly, this part is so overhated, despite the fact that there is something much worse in this map. And also, not only is it fun, this part is really simple to play around. Now, how exactly is this map really simple? Well, if you weren't a whiny cowardly and actually use your melee to hit the zombies, and I mean just your melees, you do not really need a gun for this. Maybe you guys won't actually get overwhelmed. Seriously, just having 2 to 3 players defending one area by actually stabbing those zombies to a pulp, then maybe you guys could actually beat it. Sorry for the side tangent, but come on guys, we shouldn't be letting our only chaplain handling the horde, you little... Sorry. Anyway, good job to those that actually knows how to do that. You guys are the true MVP of this part of the map. Honorable mention to the sappers and those that are doing the objective. Here is a medal that I just made up. Oh yes, stakes are actually good in this area due to the lack of bombers, so use them. But you know what rhymes with stake? Spade. In a predicament of tight rooms and funneling zombies, an on-demand shove plus damage is good in most areas of Copenhagen. Not to mention that you can entrench wooden walls. But doesn't Copenhagen have a lot of wooden floors? Not anymore. Yeah, it might fall off in the later game, but just treat it like a saber. Its fast swing speed can even ruin runners. So what are you waiting for? Use it! But back to the main topic, this map is actually really fair. In fact, most casualties are caused by incompetence at most. And there's barely a bomber here. Maybe Copenhagen is not that bad, and its hate is overblown. Get it? Cause bombers they blow, they explode, right? They. Anyway, the next part is really splendid. There is also a respawn, and the scenery here are also really great. They didn't really have to do that, but they did anyways, and that is respectable. So I am adding more filler in this section. Anyway, behold this area. I get to shoot zombies, which is surprisingly really rare in this map, until it teleports you to the worst part of Copenhagen. I hate this part so much. It is so miserable. The last holds in this map are high, wide, and have elevation. Meanwhile, over here, you are just in a box. But hey, at least you are free to extend. Unless some madman uses the stakes here. Why? It only makes the team have less freedom already in this tight and cramped room. Teammates needs telegraphs of bombers so they can get away. And stakes with bombers together are like atoms exploding. Combine that with players with differing settings and different situational awareness, then you're evil. No, you are not evil. You are just bold. You are bold. Bold. Now you might say that this is their fault that they did not see the stakes. To that I say, I rather have bad teammates than no teammates. They will be used as expendable for later. By the way, remember what I said in the intro? This is what people think Copenhagen is. While other maps are more forgiving with inconsistent players, Copenhagen decides to push you all into one box. and then another box to another. Not to mention that we will all be huddled together, not being able to see what is in front of each other. A one-man mistake can be detrimental to anyone. Unless of course you are in the back. Hence why no one is voting for Copenhagen. Seriously though, where is Copenhagen? Where is Copenhagen? Where is... Straight up hell. Now, I do not think indoor combat are bad at all. In fact, Copenhagen, despite this flaw, is not a bad map. But compared to an example, Trafalgar, a favorite map of mine that is mostly indoors, has high ceiling, wide pathways, and has an elevation to shoot from, making it fair and quite fun. But as the case for this part, it is seriously miserable. By the way, shout out to the people who knows how to shoot bombers through the window. One of the most unsung tactic in this map. Especially if you are an officer. In a map that are short quarters, their kit is really helpful due to their short to reload pistol and game-changing charge or hold steady. They are really influential in the entire map, especially when holding out with hold steady, gaining back territory with charge sometimes, and when you finally get out of this forsaken area. Anyways, salvation is gonna be across the river or canal or something.